like the amount of money that is being spent on it. And it's been a big focus of conversation. And I know it's different for a lot of us, but now is the time to lean in. Like AI will not replace you, but agents that use AI will, right? With the efficiencies, the quality, and everything like that. Like start leaning into that. We'll have many more calls and stuff on that. But guys, those are wonderful wins and stuff here to start. So thank you for all the participation and stuff there. Bubba Mills, how you doing, brother?
And I am doing great. And by the way, Jeff, when you talk to Leo, tell him hi for me. We
Yeah,
coached
I
him
will.
for 10 years. He's
All
a great
right.
guy. Yeah.
I will. And happy Friday, Betty.
Yes, you too, man. You too. Like
And
everything's
Leo,
been
what's
great.
up?
Like I know that you guys want to know what's going on and some new companies that are around. So I wrote down a couple for you guys to write down to make sure that you're getting into. We can go through that real quick.
Yeah, talk to us.
Specialassetteam.com has picked up a good book of business. Specialassetteam.com. You guys are probably familiar with now, but one of the newer ones is Peak Asset Management, like Peak Performance, Peak Asset Management.
Okay. And is that different from Peak Harbor?
It's the same. Peak Harbor is the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And Cascade Trust is one of the newer ones. So Cascade Trust is a big company that bought a lot of the pools. The Fannie and the Freddie pool got purchased, and then some of it got subsold out in little smaller pools, that kind of stuff. Cascade Trust as part of it. They're building a portfolio. They're more like we'll call it like a REIT or a baby hedge fund kind of thing. They're not as big as the other ones, but they are coming to the market. So just get those out there. And one more change in the industry. There has been a lot of companies that have left like the ResNet Equator platform, and a lot of them are going on to Aspen Grove. So Aspen Grove, like you have Pyramid, which is the largest servicing platform for origination, which is owned by Radian, which is part of, which is also owned by Green River Capital that has a Freddie contract, right? So Pyramid is the largest one because they have the largest platform for servicing. The second largest is Aspen Grove, and that's also where a lot of the preservation companies are at. So the REO companies integrating into Aspen Grove for their liquidation allows all of their preservation company, their foreclosure attorneys, and all the different departments to communicate in one platform, which gets rid of human error, which gets rid of problems. It helps efficiency on the systems. So it's Aspen Grove, ASPENGROVE. There's some talk that we might go there at the end of the year, maybe in the next year. We're looking at some different options. I don't think we're going to be in bed with with Accelerus that long. It was a need that we needed to get things going, so it might change. Okay.
Man, that's huge, and it's needed, right? Like these systems that we're working on right now have been around for 25, 30 years.
Exactly.
With very limited updates, right? They're antiquated, they're this, they're that. So I'm hoping they actually make some improvements, right? And it allows everything to function. Again, AI technology, right? Like this market is going to be entirely different. And in my eyes, it should be for the better as long as we lean into it here.
Yeah. And I know ResNet, they got some seed after they sold. They sold ResNet and US REO in the sale. And the new buyers have committed about $150 million in the next 5 or 6 months for upgrades. That they want to do some rehiring the system. They want to work on getting more clients. They used to be the go-to. If you go back to 2007, if you weren't on ResNet, you weren't an REO agent at that point, right? So the system's just going around. Jeff, I've known you for, I don't know, decades probably. We've been doing this for a long time. And, we see every single cycle, something new pops up, something new, something new, something new. The problem is we've got so many something news that the something olds have not caught up. So they're either in jeopardy of merging or selling. If you look at SLS, you look at SPS, you look at all this movement, around the industry, it's all because they haven't spent money in development to get new clients, to get new technology, to get new services, so on and so forth. So these older ones, they either have to catch up to the game or they're going to get sold. Now, the good part, like SPS, it was sold and they wanted to keep the asset management company. They bought it for that and the loans. Where SLS, they wanted to get the hell out of the whole thing. And that's why Rhythm, purchased the company. So you have to look at the end result. I'm sorry, was it you, Frida, that asked a question? Somebody?
No, I don't think, I think somebody just wasn't on mute there.
Sure. So that's kind of, 40,000 foot level on what's going on. There are 6 RFPs out right now that will be coming to fruition within the next month or two, I would say within the next 60 days. You guys your organization is very good at being in front of all the news. You guys post a lot of, like, literally within 5 minutes of things. And I bless you guys for that. It is amazing information. So you guys are always kept up, on those parts of it. And then I can always help on the back end of it on what's going on with the servicing side and that kind of stuff. So if you guys ever need,
for those that don't know, like, explain to them what is an RFK.
Yep. So an RFP is a request for proposal.
RFK, I'm thinking of.
Yeah, we won't see those documents for a couple more months. So RFP, Fannie does one every 3 to 5 years. Freddie, they just don't do them right now. But you got Bank of America, you got basically any servicing company that wants to go and bid out. You guys know it as a bid. We know it as an RFP. They can go out and say, this is the parameters. This is what we have. We want a request for proposal. And a lot of you don't know this, but we have to put, like, our price up front. How much are we willing to take for interior BPO, an exterior BPO, a drive-by or whatever? And a lot of you think that we make a frigging killing on BPOs. We make about $15 to $20 on a BPO. We do not make a killing, right? So, we get 145 and, we give you guys 120, 125 for it. It's not a big money maker for us. It's a client service that's required to obtain a client and to obtain new clients. And it's the same thing for you. If you get a BPO from, like, any of the BPO mills, like Clear Capital or whatever, they don't do REOs. That's just there as a supplemental income. And if you have a big enough department, I've got clients that make about $20,000, $30,000 a month doing BPOs. They'll do up to 800-900 BPOs a month. It's crazy. So when you get them from asset management companies, I'm just going to tell you how we run it. How I say we at Guardian, just so you guys know, I do not work for Guardian. I'm a consultant for Rhythm and help to build the Guardian asset management brand. Right. So I work in all of the departments. If they need help in the lending or title or whatever, I'm a consultant. So I apologize when I say we. I'm just talking, as Guardian. So we have a scorecard that starts with your BPO. So most of you won't get an REO until you get a BPO. Some of you are going to just get run into REO, but you build your scorecard with a BPO because here's my common rule. And if I can't trust you to value your property, then sure the hell ain't going to give you a listing, right? You're building, that's your resume. That's what it is. So do not deny them if you can. I know it's not much money, but if you're going to drive like an hour to make $45 for a drive-by, I wouldn't do it either, right? So there's common sense that goes there. That was.
I tell people that, when I was running Carrington, I know that, to land the Nation Star Zone contract, who ended up being my largest client for business development, we did 3,000 BPOs for free. We were like, why? Because nobody else could do it, right? I was like, we can do it. And then I was like, damn, how do we do 3,000 BPOs for free in a month type thing? But what it did is nobody else had the bandwidth, right? Nobody else had a network that I could go and be like, look, guys, we need to do this, but I think it's going to pay off in the future type thing. And damn, I mean, we were carrying 2,000 listings at a time just from Zome and Mr. Cooper and Nation Star. So that is why, that is what Bubba's talking about on this big BPO side of things, right? Like, don't worry so much about the compensation. You're not doing it for the 35 or the 50 or the $100. You're doing it to build that relationship. So that way you can get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 listings and in some cases in a year. That will change your life. So most people have a hard time, seeing through the forest, the bigger picture, but there is a much bigger picture of what we're coming into.
Well, if anybody has noticed lately, there is a lot, and I mean a lot of movement in the industry. We are picking up in some of the foreclosure areas. California, Florida, you're probably going to be a little bit later in the stages because you had such a huge equity boost in there. You're in the Midwest. We're starting to see some REOs in Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, this kind of Midwest area. They're all picking back up. We're still slow in like the New Jersey, Nevada. I mean, New Jersey, that whole kind of corridor right there, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania's starting to pick up a little bit. Virginia's through the roof now. I don't know what happened, but they're starting to liquidate in Virginia. So we're starting to see a little bit more assets coming through. We did become one of the qualified recipients of the new USDA contract that'll be coming out.
Nice.
Dawson,
Congratulations.
Dawson has a secured one. So anything MI or whatever, that stays with Dawson. So make sure you're with Dawson. We are going to be doing more of a sub-servicing for an ISN contract, which is the USDA direct lending part of it, right? So that news should be coming out here in say the next week or two. I just happened, to get the information this morning, so I went in and shared it with you. I've been waiting for a code. Like I said, I do not have it yet. Okay.
If we don't get to the code, like you said, we'll get that out, because here's the thing, guys. Obviously, most of us do a lot in the REO, a lot in the default space and stuff like that are on this call. Like, we all go ways back. Others of you want to get more into that space, right? And so we're constantly bringing guests. And what I try and do is I'm trying to position us for the next 4 to 8 years worth of business, right? And this is where we want to be in all of these platforms. Even if they have relationships, they're going to have relationships until they need more. They're going to be like, well, damn, I gave Bubba 32 listings last week. We need to diversify. And then it's like, oh, well, Barry's in the system. Let's try him, right? And that's when it's your time to shine. Because when Barry has 32 listings, it's hard to keep the quality of service as you start to grow. It's possible. It's just harder, especially nobody has teams of 40, 50 people on REOs right now because we're running on a skeleton crew. So be with all of these systems ahead of time, right? Make sure that you have like your BPO, like your skills there, like you're efficient at all of these things. And then, so I appreciate all of the updates and stuff here. And I wanted to bring Bubba on to talk about, one of the things, as I coach and train a lot of people on this BPO side of things, it's what do you recommend for repairs, right? What are the costs for repairs? And agents are terrible. I've seen agents that are doing BPOs for 30 years, and I'll look at one of their BPOs and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've made it 30 years. Like, just because people have been doing it does not mean they're good at it. Right?
Correct.
There is room for improvement. And things like Blue Hammer that Bubba's going to go through today could be one of those tools that help increase your efficiency, help increase your accuracy, and add more value to your clients and stuff as well. So, Bubba will get, if he doesn't have it by the end of this call, he's going to talk about, he's going to educate us on this Blue Hammer product, what it does, how it works, how it's going to be able to help you guys further your business. And then on the flip side, we will have a discount code at some point. We just may or may not have it by the end of the call.
So they were changing some pricing around and the discount codes around and everything else. And I did not get a chance to talk to Clinton yesterday. So I will get that again, hopefully by the end of this class. I'll check my email. If not, then I'll send it over to Larry, and Larry can blast it out to everybody. And a lot of people say, what is Blue Hammer? Well, let me tell you. Let me back up a little bit and say, how many people here do REOs, right? When you do REOs, you have to do a BPO. You correct, right? But you also, depending on how much repair there has to be, is you have to get 3 bids. So excuse my language, but you're pissing off 3 contractors because a lot of them don't do the rehab. But you're getting bid and bid and bid and bid and bid. And you're like, God, what is going on here? Okay. So with Blue Hammer, it's a bid. And it's the most detailed bid that you've ever gotten in your life, because Blue Hammer is used by Fannie, Freddie, USDA, VA, 45 of the top banks, and every preservation company in the United States. So Safeguard, Guardian, MCS, 5 Star, which I mean, Five Brothers, which just got sold. That's the data. There's 33,000 general contractors that use this product. If you use PropStream, when you go in there and you choose to, do what the repair cost in it, it's powered by Bluehammer. So all of this data goes from you want me to just share my screen real quick and I can
Oh,
I
yeah,
can
go for it. It's your show, man.
all right, let's do this one. All right, so there's 2 different versions of Bluehammer. Is this big enough for you guys? Can you guys see it?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
The other way was better. Yep, that way's better.
Okay. So when you're in Bluehammer, I'm just going to go to the property setup piece of it so I can search it from there. So I'm going to go through the full Bluehammer report, and then there's Bluehammer Express. So when you're doing the regular Bluehammer, which is what I'm going to log into right now, it's pretty much good for all types of real estate. So we use this on the buyer agent side, the listing partner side. We use this for investors. We use it for everything because it also does your own marketing. So you see here at the bottom, anytime I do business in here, my contact information is on that banner for life. So let's just talk about traditional real estate. How many of you have walked through a house with a buyer and they say, I wonder how much it'll cost to X, how much the floor, how much the paint, a new air conditioner, a new whatever, right? This system will do that for you. And then afterwards, do you see these properties that I've already done them on right here? So I can click on this, and I represented Larry as a buyer agent, and you purchased the house. I can assign this property to you now. Well, the value of assigning the property to you is that it has everyone. I'll just go into this real quick and show you. This has all of my service providers in here. Does everybody know? You have you have everybody you want to send business to. Your plumber, your electrician, your landscaping company, your attorneys, your dog sitters, your veterinarians, your everything, right? If you were not providing those services to people that you represent on the buy side, you're failing miserably because you are the expert in that area. They might have moved from San Diego to LA, where the landscaping company's not going to be there. The veterinarian's not going to be there. Everything changes. So you guys need to get this information to them. So if you use Bluehammer on every single product, then you load this thing up one time at the beginning, and you, like, no joke, you load this thing up once, and every time that you assign a property, it has a list of your 20, 30, 40 different providers. So now we're sending business to our partners. And when we want to do a first-time home buyer seminar, we want to do a joint marketing campaign, they'll throw money all over us because we're referring business to them, right? So again, this is on any property, but on the buy side, we can assign this property to anybody. The standard cost of what I'm getting ready to show you is $300 a year for 100 properties. Okay, so that's $3 a property. Now I'm gonna give you guys a code, and it's really easy. It's VIP 50. Very important person 50. If you use that code, it'll go down to $250 for the year, right? So that's $2.50 a property. Now I'm going to talk to you REO people. Well, you know what? Let me show this to you, and then when I get through, then you can decide what you want to do. I'm going to create a new property here real quick. I'll do Oceanside as one of the addresses. I've always wanted a street called after me, so let's just do it now. I was born in Oceanside. That's why I know this, by the way.
I was going to say, you're not in California.
Yeah, I was born in Oceanside. I lived there probably 40 years of my life, off and on.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, then I lived in Washington State, and then in Illinois and Colorado for a little bit of time. Okay.
Oceanside is my favorite spot in the country.
Yeah, it's also the cheapest zip code on the beach to buy a house, believe it or not.
Really?
Yep, it's the cheapest zip code. If you go, and of course, you can go down to like Del Mar, La Jolla, whatever. I'm just through the roof. Then you go north of like San Clemente, and that starts turning in all the famous beaches. Oceanside, no joke, is the cheapest zip code on the beach in the entire state of California. Yeah, I love it. I was born
Thanks for
right
that.
there in Tri-City Hospital. All right, so I put the property address in. I only have to click one button for updates. So I need to put in the year built, and we'll call it 1985. Features, single family, townhome, condo, whatever. What quality was it? We'll just call it builder grade. It's an REO property, so it's in horrible condition. It has one fireplace. It has central air. No basement. No basement. Do you have a garage? It asks you three options. Is there living above? If it's attached, is there living above or not? Or is it detached? That's just it. So we'll do attached garage with no living above. It's a 2-car garage. We'll give it a vaulted ceiling. That is a nice 10-foot with a moderate roof pitch. I'll go next. And this is the last thing you have to fill out. In California, they use clay tile. The outside is stucco. Now, in this flooring type, make sure you click everything that's appropriate. So carpet in the living room, tile in the wet areas, and LVT in the rest of the house. If you just put carpet and you go to remodel a kitchen, it's going to price carpet in the kitchen, right? So it's intuitive enough when you click them what it goes. That's it. That's the only thing I have to do. My property's now set up. Okay, so what we do, let's go in and estimate a project. We'll call this an REO Alliance. So how many of you general contractors? How many of you know how to prepare a bid? How do you know how many angle stops or derivatives you need in a bathroom? Answer's none. Like, we're real estate agents, we're not contractors. And this is why you guys suck horribly at repairs. You say a kitchen, oh, it's about 12,000. Oh, it's 2,500 for a bathroom. Everything ends in 00000. That's not how life is. So I ask you, right, as a person, Jennifer, if you were to receive a BPO that's got 2,500, 1,500, 4,800, 12,000 on the bids, or if you get a BPO that says it's $12,462.12 for the kitchen, $875.15 for the bedroom, which one would you think would be a better bid? The one that goes all the way down to the pennies, right? It's interesting. Right. You look more professional. You are giving a much higher quality, and it takes you. I'm getting ready to do it right now, and I'm just going to show you everything at once so you guys can understand the power of the system. The most common is by area. So you can see all the areas on here. We got a bathroom remodel, doors, interior, exterior, electrical refresh, flooring, HVAC, kitchen remodel, lighting, interior, exterior, painting, interior, exterior, plumbing, roof, water heater, windows. Let's just do them all. Let's just see what this thing looks like. It's 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. There it is. That's your entire report. I just did it in 4 seconds. So now the DIY is if you took everything, went to the store and bought everything yourself. The one on the right is with labor, with profit, and with equipment along with that. So it's intuitive enough to say, if you're doing a plumbing job throughout the house, there's probably only going to be one licensed plumber, and he'll be $75 an hour. And depending on how big of a job it's going to be, we're going to need 2 assistants, and they're $34 an hour. So it breaks it down. Remember, we have 33,000 general contractors using this product. So we have labor costs everywhere. It gathers all of the data information from Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, RP Lumber, Ace Hardware, and any other major lumber or hardware companies across the United States. We pull the data every 90 days. We conglomerate it down to the zip code. So every number you get is by the zip code. So if you're 92056, it might be different than 92054, right? So you have to, the system knows that because all the data in the back end of it is by the zip code. So if you're in a zip code that there's 10,000 contractors in, you're going to be plus or minus probably 2%. If you're in an area that's not a lot of construction or anything else, we're probably going to be plus or minus 3 to 4%. Again, this is an algorithm. We also are working on a contract with Foxy AI, if you guys are familiar with them. So now when you do your BPOs, you guys do the photos. Foxy AI analyzes those photos, and then whatever damage it sees, it runs a Blue Hammer report to know what that can be. So we have, again, Fannie, Freddie, HUD, USDA, VA, they want secondary data sources is what they want. And that's what this is. It's an independent data source, not created by an agent, not created by anybody that's in that. We are in the repair space since 1965. All right. I will disclose I am on their advisory board. I do not get paid if you purchase this product or not. I'm on the advisory board, and when they sell, I'm going to make some money. But until then, I don't care what you do. It does not matter. So I'd like to disclose any kind of relationships. All right.
Yeah.
So now we have it all. Let's just open this thing up and see what it did for us. It's got new angle stops, new derivative valves, vanity, safe baseboards, replacement, all the way down to wax rings and everything else. It's all in here. This was built as a contractor. So what we've done is we've taken contractors across the US, and when we see they remodel a bathroom, they go in and put every single line item on it. We captured it as a template is what we did. So there's a template for every one of the services that we have done. Now there's 3 ways of getting data. That's area. Okay. Next is popular projects. Say you want to do let's do a deck. We'll do a deck. So next, I'm going to put it in the deck category, which is a brilliant one, right? Since it's a deck. Let's do a 16 by 20 raised composite. We'll go next. Where do we want to put the pricing at? Let's do it in exterior grounds, which over here, exterior grounds is empty. And we're going to go add to estimate. And then watch exterior grounds. Right there, it's $14,000. That's what it's at. But what it did for you is to tell you, here's the post, lumber, tube. Here's the ledger boards, the grinder head joist. It's basically built an entire deck for you in 2 seconds. And then the last one is you have to have a lot more knowledge about it. So if you want to go in and do you want to do just an HVAC machine, you want to do debris removal, you want to do just a door, you want to do masonry work on it, you want to just do patching. Sorry, I went too far.
And I also want to point out, guys, that this is itemized, right? Like, because lots of times, like, and if depending on your experience here, you request a bid, and you're going to get a bid for a house that says $26,000. If you turn that in to your asset manager, they're going to be like, "What the hell is this?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this for? Like, what are they charging us for? So this is where it breaks it down. It itemizes it, right? Why? Because everybody that helped build this program has done thousands of these and worked with thousands of vendors and contractors and kind of put this into it. And I love that, Jeff was like, this is the AI for the construction, right? Like, this is the same thing that we're talking about. It's the AI version. And these are the things that are going to make your life easier moving forward. Mashawn, what do you got, man?
I just saying I'm kind of like a schoolgirl, excited about this. But Bubba, what I want to know is that what do I tell my contractor? Because I have him on speed dial right now.
Okay. So what this does several things. One, you can do this yourself in your own home on your laptop. And remember, we're plus or minus, we'll call it 3 or 4%. So that's one bid. You only have to get 2 more now. You don't have to get 3. So jobs that are this big, you're going to have 3 bids on. So I just did 1. So now you're only going to upset 2, right? But number 2, you don't even know if they're going to be doing repairs or anything else right now. Every asset manager that I talk to and every investor that I've showed this product to is absolutely in love with it. I have not got it like in their bylaws as an accepted initial bid to be reviewed. My job is for Blue Hammers. I basically put this product into multi-million and billion-dollar companies, right? So I want to go to Blackstone and say, hey, any property that you want an as is or as repaired value on it. The agents will use my as repaired value on this program and submit it. And then if you determine you want to do repairs, then they will go out and get another 1 or 2 quotes. Because this is the data source. You go to 3 general contractors, there's a chance all 3 of them use the same data source, right? So that's my initiative for this year, is to get it into being recognized by all of the investors and everything else, right? I'm working on it on the asset management side. So, Guardian, on anything that is less than $20,000, we're probably just going to accept one Blue Hammer, and you do not have to get the other 3. That's what we're working on with our investors. Go ahead, Michelle.
So you mentioned that you can take photos. Am I understanding it correctly? Like, if I take a photo of this part of the house, I can implement it into this program, and it'll read it as such?
Yep. So watch this. I'm going to do 2 things for you. One, I'm going to show you, Stephen Covey says, the insight. Here's a PDF. This is what you did. So in 4 seconds, let me show you what this bid looks like. So you're not just looking at it on the screen, right? So in those 4 seconds, I created, it's going to be about 15 or 16 pages. Give me 1 second. It's 16 pages that it built. You can just read that. You can read that now.
Yep.
Okay. So here's the bathroom, just like we looked on there. Everything was thing on there. Price per unit, total cost. But I'll go down to the bottom of the category so you can see. So area total is $11,001. That's with a contractor, equipment, everything involved. If it's DIY, it's $4,000. And it goes through every single one of them. We'll get down to the bottom so you can see it.
Oh, but as you're scrolling through, right, like this is a game changer, just for the efficiency and stuff. Do you ever run into a situation where the asset manager's like, oh, I like that bid, and then it's a hard time finding contractors that can do it for that price? Is there ever any rub there, right? Because you don't want to get this bid approved and then not necessarily have somebody that can do it. How do we handle that?
Yeah, so basically the way that we talk to the asset managers and investors about this thing is, this is 1 of 3 bids. That's what it is, right? You always go highest or less or anything else. This is plus minus 3 to 4%. So most general contractors are going to do cost plus 10, 15, 20, whatever the rules are. If I went to them and said, this is the work I need to do, you can come and look at the house. I've already written up the bid for you. Can you match this bid? And we are at 90% of the time. There's some anomalies. There's just nothing you can do about it. It's just like, here's the other problem, right? And this happens all the time. Jared goes over and he gets a bid from a contractor, and they come back in, and then we go look at it, and they're like, oh, I just walked through to do a bid. Like, I didn't do an itemized bid on this thing. I did a general bid for you. Now that I break drywall or whatever, and I see mold, it just happens, right? And as long as we use that whole 90% time. If 90% of the time I'm 100% correct, and 95% of the time I'm at least 80% correct, I don't care about the other 5. We can make that happen, right? So this product, like I said, in the asset management world, I used this back in 1996 with Option 1 Mortgage, and then we used it exclusively at Financial Asset Services for our numbers, because we know that whoever 15039 is, that's an interesting name. Sounds like a Prince song. We know he's not a general contractor, right? He's a realtor. That's why he is selling our houses. So we do our best to be able to provide a product, a pricing range that will be able to go to an investor, a bank, a REIT, a syndication, a hedge fund that's going to say, this is it. We did this in 4 seconds. It's the most analyzed data that you can get. This is, again, it's going to be plus or minus 3 to 4%. And, if you want to dive into this thing, then we can always go over and have a contractor go in and walk through the property itself. So when you go to your BPO and you put in those prices in each one of them, let me go back to the project. And in the lines on the REO, you put these data sources in there, you're an expert. You export it and you upload it with the BPO. That's a game changer all day long. How many people here work with investors? And they always say, God, I wonder how much it'd be for carpet or paint or whatever. I just did it for you. So that investor in 4 seconds will know, is my repair cost within range of what I'm looking at making for my ROI or my cap rate, whichever one we're doing. If so, it costs me $2.50 in 15 minutes versus how long does it take you to do analysis on a BPO? Half hour, hour. You just basically spent $2.50 and got an hour of your life back. So again, this product is used on several prices. I want to do something else for you real quick. So see where it says project summary right here? This is your estimated cost. This is how many line items there are. And we have this thing in poor condition. Let's say, so economy or maybe good would be like rental quality for some home buyer or whatever. So let's just do this in an average market condition in an owner occupied development. We're just going to go to better. Okay. As I'm talking, these two numbers are going to upgrade to a better condition. Appliances will be updated. The sinks will be updated. The granite, everything else will be changed. So you can get whatever that new pricing is going to be, or you can go to the line item itself and go to a bathroom. And when you go to the vanity, we've got this vanity with the top and everything else. It's in better condition. And you say, God, on that one, I really don't need it. So I'll just go to edit and we'll just change this one into a good condition. So you can do it manually under each one of them, or you can do it as a project summary and change the entire thing. You can do whatever you want to do. All right. So again, this is the version. This is the version that we use for your entire real estate department. It's got 150 articles that you guys can go in, click on it, and then you can put it in your social media. It's evergreen, so it has no dates or contact or information on it. It's basically available anytime that you want it. You can go share those things. It also has my service tab, which I talked to you about. And last but not least, it has a home inventory. And this is why we want to send it to all the buyers. If you have your house, people in California, Pacific Palisades, that thing just got destroyed. How many of them actually had copies of the receipts? Know what the value of the properties were, what the serial and model number were for their appliances. And you don't think about it, right? But in here, if this was your property and you want to go in and you want to add a dishwasher, and we'll just say it's a Maytag dishwasher, serial number, whatever, and I'll show you why it doesn't matter. Purchase date, we'll just put, we'll use this date. Purchase from, let's get it from Lowe's. And then we're going to say we got that dishwasher for $850. Beautiful dishwasher. I can put my warranty information in here, my manufacturer warranty, and then put that information in there. I can put whatever notes I want to, and watch this. I click save. I can drag any photos that I want to, a copy of the receipt, a copy of the serial number. With refrigerators, what's the copy that we have to have for all the filters that we forget which freaking code that we're using for our refrigerators? It's all in here. So when you go and save it, and now we want to go into our reports. Well, we have two. There's one report for the homeowner's report. So this one will go in, and if I put the data in here, it'll give you my ERC, my estimated replacement cost. That's your insurance that's on there. And then also on the other one, I have a home inventory report. So it'll pull, you can pull it by area, by data, with photos, no photos, and I can run it. And here, if there's photos, it'd be underneath there. And it would say, here's the value of it, the date purchase, here's a copy of the receipt, here's a copy of whatever, and analyze it in detail or in just single data source to be able to get the information. That's it. Like literally, that's it. So this is the full-blown Blue Hammer. A lot of you is like, I'm not going to use all those bells and whistles. Great. That's why there's Blue Hammer Express. Blue Hammer Express is the exact same thing of what I showed you without all the inventory stuff and insurance and articles. It's just straight flat out number. So you have to put your reference ID. I always use the word who cares. You guys can put in whatever your ID number is. Is it a single family? What is it? Address? Let's just do another one real quick so I can show you. We'll do this one in O'Fallon, Illinois, 62269. Which is where I'm at now. I'll create the order. I'm not going to save it. Yes, this is the correct address. I'm putting in fake addresses. Also, if the system recognizes an address and there's been data pulled on it before, it will auto load for you and let you look at the data that was there before if it was done. Okay. So again, this is the exact same thing as the other one, but I'm just going to show you the different layout on it, right? So, here's the thing: bedroom, bath. I'm just going to go through this thing real quick. You don't need to listen to me talk.
And I know my Sean is pressed already, but again, guys, I want you guys to start thinking, right now, when you have 2, 3, 4 properties or something like that, you may not necessarily need this, but think about your time. How much time, effort, energy does this save you? Is this a better quality product than what you're presenting to your asset managers, your clients, your investors and stuff than what you have now? And, for most major metro areas, I would agree that it's probably pretty close to the pricing. And as Bubba had mentioned, 90%, of the contractors can probably be in that price range and stuff as well.
Yeah. So I just set up the property that quick. I'm already in here. And this is what you get. This is it. Like, you go in and run a report. Not all the bells and whistles, no articles, no service providers, no inventory, no nothing. It's flat out data. This one is cheaper. The other one, you pay the $250 for the code for 100 properties. Here, you buy properties in bulk. So you'll buy 10 properties, 20 properties, 50, 100, and it's a lot cheaper because it doesn't come with all the bells and whistles. It's just raw data, bam, bam, bam. So BPOs, if you're only doing BPOs and not a lot of traditional work on it, this is it. And this is the one that I'm gonna get you guys a discount code for. It hasn't come across yet. So Larry, I'll have to send it to you. But this is it. This is Blue Hammer. Like, no joke. This is a game changer for anybody doing valuations, working with investors. Again, if you guys use PropStream, which is another product that I am absolutely in love with, I have clients that sell probably 2 properties a month just off PropStream, and then also fix and flips and investors and that kind of fun stuff. So in there, if you click repair, it's a single use. So you get this option right here. Bam, you get one report on it. You can't save it. You can't anything. It's just an estimate. And then when you close it, you open it back up. You have to run another report on it. Where here, if you do it outside of the system, you get to keep the data that's on there. Also, the other thing is you get a property is a single address, not a single report. So you use this property as your first one that's on there. You can run 500 reports on it. It does not matter. You can do single reports for each room. You can do it with, if I did it all to upgrade to this, save it, upgrade it to rental condition, save it. So you can do as many reports as you want to, right? Again, we've been around since 1965 and have more contracts than anybody ever thought of. It just never had the power for the agents until about 1.5 years ago. It was only used by asset management companies and big conglomerates and the GSEs and general contractors. All right. All right. I'm done. I'll open it up to questions. Larry, you got anything to say?
Yeah, no, I greatly appreciate this. And, I know there's agents that are ramping up, getting back into it and stuff like that. Again, a lot of us on this call and stuff with a lot of experience are using this. And as always, we just want to share things with everybody else that are working, right? How do we make your guys' life easier and stuff as well, add value to other people? So we'll open up for questions and stuff like that. Thank you so much for Bubba for jumping on and just kind of sharing this and stuff with us. Any questions, comments, concerns, guys?
Bubba, thank you so much. This was very, very helpful. I'm glad to see this. Definitely going to explore some more. I could use this for my everyday kind of, not just REOs, but listings and with investors and other things. But I wanted to ask you about the pictures. You were going, I think you were going to go into the actual photos of, I don't know if it's the other one, not the simpler one or Express, but the other platform. You're able to upload photos and AI is able to identify those and categorize it.
I apologize. It was two separate conversations. Foxy AI is who we're connected with for all of the asset management companies and banks and REITs and that kind of fun stuff. So they can run a BPO, do a Foxy AI report, and it'll pull our data. That is not for the agent just to upload a photo and pull the data. I apologize if I had confusion there. I'm sorry about that. But also, I want you guys to think, is anybody here do property management? This is great for property management because what they always ask an investor, what's the term going to be? How much is it going to cost? What's normal wear and tear? What's whatever? And you can literally go into the system and price it out. So when you're going back to the investor, you're saying, hey, this is the cost, this is our turn rate to be able to get back into rental condition. And you're giving them basically a printout, an itemized printout for it, versus just saying, let's going to be about X or about X. So we use it a lot in property management also.
So Boxy AI is separate, right? So it's a
Correct.
separate
Boxy AI is what
subscription.
the corporations use, not an agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, I have a question. You may have said this, I apologize if you did, but like the cost of the material and the labor, like if depending on the region, like if you're in, Pennsylvania, is the pricing different than California?
100%. It's per zip code.
Per zip code, that's what
We
I
go
thought.
all the way down to a zip code itself, because in some areas you go two zip codes away and the price goes up 3%, right? I mean, so we have literally gone down to the zip code itself for the analytics for that.
That's awesome. Okay. And the other challenge most of us seasoned REO people have, or maybe not for the season, but the getting the bids back, especially when there's three, the scope of work being identical, right? Anything that Blue Hammer does to help to keep that so it's consistent across all your bids?
So you'll be putting in the rooms or whatever the data is that you're going to be asking the general contractors to do. The
Right.
difference with it is when you get a bid, if anybody's experienced this and got a bid on a property, general contractors do not analyze it like this. They'll say, for this or this or this, and they'll give you big like dumps of stuff. This goes down to what the cost of a wax ring is for a toilet. So this is a lot more detailed than the other ones. And look, I can't blame them. They're not getting paid for these things. And Jeff, your contractors, you call them and they're like, man, look, I've done like 50 for you and I haven't gotten one job yet. Now, the time has changed. If you guys notice in the last probably year or so, maybe 2 years, that they are doing more repaired values, more repaired properties, because they're taking advantage of the huge equity in the market. After COVID, I mean, we went through the friggin' roof at 2.5%, 3% rates, right? So people were buying and selling and everything else. So they kind of rode that train. Where now, when it starts coming back down more, they're going to lean more about what's my risk analysis for this asset and really determine what the ARV is going to be. And you're starting to lose a little bit more of that. Like, no joke, it was so bad. We actually had to have a different class of business, and that was REO with profit. Yeah. Asset management companies, banks, we don't make profit on properties. We literally have to analyze why we kicked a mom and her 3 kids out of a house and made $100,000 profit. Like, we don't want to do that. And that's why I say you get PropStream, you can run all that pre-foreclosure data, you can market through it, you can do everything else. Before REOs, we have short sales. And a lot of REO people don't consider going into the short sale market also. Right? There's a Tony Martinez owned CDPE, and that's the only one that I will ever say in my life has valuable training for short sales. He is brilliant. His material's brilliant. He's a great speaker. Like, if you're going to get into short sales, please take the CDPE class.
Yeah. And then you kind of started to talk about repair or not repair. Any idea, like Zoom, I think they're still just not repairing anything, right? Is that anybody?
It's just like USDA. If anybody here does any USDA, it's the best contract you'll ever do in your life. You get the asset after it's already been secured, it's already been evicted, it's already been everything. You get the asset. They don't do debris removal though. So you got a pile of crap in your house. You basically list it, you get it under contract, it's accepted, and you go sit in the corner and wait for your check because they handle all the closing. It's the best contract to ever get if you guys can get USDA.
Yeah.
So we run into a lot of those problems. There's also some of the hedge funds that we've seen. So out of Roundtree, we have 9 investors on that contract that we service. And there's only 3 of them that actually do rehab. The other 6 do not. They're more of like a liquidation company where they buy in bulk and then they just resell individual properties to make a higher profit. So they're not into investment versus a return. They're into get us off my plate in 30 days.
In your opinion, why are they not repairing when there's money to be made, or at
You
least
have a lot of things. You have capital, right? So, and here's the thing: say you're Bank of America. Remember, any defaulted note, you have to put 40% of the unpaid principal balance in a reserve account that you cannot use to give somebody a loan that's in a positive, equitable position. So you've got, they've got tens of millions of dollars. And a lot of them, they just need to clean out. They just got to go. The other thing you'll see a lot of the asset management companies do these days is that, so Rhythm owns 30% of Covius, which owns Bid on Homes, Freedom Mortgage, that kind of stuff. They're like our sister company. So what we do when we get occupied properties, especially in redemption areas or rent control areas and everything else, we'll put it at auction and sell it occupied. And we'll take a head cut on it. iServe buys a lot from us. Actually, they do a lot of those. So you can get this kind of division on this part of it. And basically, when we talked to them, they were like, hey, give us first op on any of these owner or occupied properties. And we'll buy them a bulk, we'll buy them one off, we'll buy anything. So we are actually starting to build like a pool of that to be able to go out for sale. So, these days, squatters have more rights than me, you, the bank, the investor, or the homeowner. And we don't have time for that anymore. It turns every state into a redemption state. So we just don't want to do that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Randy, you had a question?
Yeah, good morning, Bubba.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned the Blue Hammers based on roughly 33,000 contractors and pricing through things. Is there a way to access those contractors whose pricing has been utilized?
So they sign a clause that says we cannot mention their name or contact information that is on there. I will tell you, if you go to Angie's list, you're going to get contractors that use our data.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to help minimize, right? Blue Hammer.
Of course. We've asked, I don't know how many times we've said, guys, we can get you freaking business. Like literally, if we could just, if we could give out, 3 of you a zip code or whatever, that would be great. But under the contract that they signed to be able to use the data, it's called a non-source. So we cannot reveal the source of that data that came put in. So we just can't do that. It sucks, but it is.
Yeah, I was just trying to, figure out how to minimize the 20,000 on the bid versus a $30,000 contractor number.
Yeah, agree.
We're getting better numbers here.
Yeah, we don't have that bridge for you. I apologize.
Oh, that's right. Thanks. I appreciate you walking through this.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Anybody else?
Yeah, Bubba, I have another question.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
3 to 4% variation. Is that taking into consideration the local city permit requirements and things of that sort, or is it just strictly?
So this does not include permits. Permits are completely different.
Okay, so
This is just material repair and work on a house. The permits are completely different that are on there.
Okay.
Meaning they're not included in the number.
They're not included. Correct. They're not included. On the one on the right hand side, it's included. Permit. You've got permits. You've got equipment, and you've got labor costs on the one on the right hand side. But the DIY does not include permits.
Oh, thanks for clarifying that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody else? No? Well, Larry, I'll turn it back over to you, or Jeff is ever turning on the next pages thing here. Thank you guys for the invite. I appreciate it. You know, I have a great working relationship with a majority of you guys in this group, and with Jeff and Larry and everything else. So if there's any, you guys ever need me to jump on and do some other stuff, just reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you guys anytime. All right.
Sweet. Thank you, Bubba.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Larry, you got service now? I know you were having some challenges. Where'd you go? Oh, there he is.
Says it's muted.
Oh, he just said thank you very much. I will get coffee and something. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take over for Larry because he's having some
Sure.
communication challenges. So,
Jump
Bubba,
on. Jeff,
thanks again. Appreciate it. Appreciate it,
Got
Bubba.
it. All right.
Everybody else. Oh, Michon, did you say something?
Oh no, that was just a piece on. I thought we were signing off.
Oh, okay. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. Hey, thank you guys.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.
All right. See you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.